Race fans, good evening and welcome to upstate New York, specifically the Finger Lakes region, or better known as Wine Country, right outside of the beautiful town of Elmira. You'll find the super speedway of road courses on the NASCAR circuit right here at Watkins, Glen International. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Redline Racing Network. Matt Medler is always up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Booth as we get set ready to rock and roll. 17 drivers strong, going to take the initial green flag here tonight as we get set to turn it up in prime time. After all, the nighttime is the right time for Premier Sim Racers Club in prime time. Let's go ahead and pull up tonight's race information so everyone at home can follow along with us. And as I was saying, Watkins Glen International officially clocks in at 2.42 miles. Ambient air temperature, a beautiful fall as this time of the year, 66 degrees. Altitude about 500 feet above sea level. 67% relative humidity tonight. Partly cloudy skies. 18 degrees, sometimes gusting to 22. And that could be a factor coming up through the S's or coming down off the final turn, something the drivers are going to have to be aware of, especially as these Dr. Feelgoods become feel-bads over the course of this 30-lap race tonight. Are we blinking? Please stabilize. Again, this is one of my first broadcasts back after being impacted by two hurricanes here in South Florida. And if the first one, Helene, wasn't enough, we also had a tornado outbreak right before Milton decided to make landfall here. And let's just say I hope the worst of the weather is over for us. It's been a rough stretch here tonight as that field now lines up behind that iRacing.com pace car. Joseph McWhorter here in the 73 machine. He is going to have the pole. Outside of him, the 44 of Chris Medford. GT Azari, always really good at these road courses. He gets going to start P3 while Chuck Sweeting outside of him in that fourth place position. Ray Polking's going to round out the top five, while Marco Lark's going to start. And just as I say that, we go back to getting a case of the blink. I apologize for the inconvenience, folk. I'm going to step aside really quick, see if I can fix this bandwidth a little bit. Make sure we're good under green flag conditions. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here momentarily and resume coverage from Watkins Glen International. Welcome back to race fans, good evening, and welcome back to Watkins Glen International Speedway. I hope we got the technical side, the bugs corrected right now so we can get through this broadcast here tonight. I do apologize for the lapse or break in coverage there on the initial start as we now resume coverage under caution here. As you can see, that iRacing.com pace car out in front of the field. Going to try and get the audio just quickly adjusted here as we basically had to go and reconfigure everything and try to adjust and save as much bandwidth as possible. Again, we're still dealing from the aftermath of that massive tornado outbreak we had here in South Florida. First broadcast back since that storm hit. So a group of cars going to come down pit road here, top off on that go fast. And remember, we're in the Gen 4 car, so we're making all the power tonight, north of 900, almost 10,000 RPMs. These cars sound like a screaming demon as they're barreling up the hill into that winding chicane. Car that made the golden era of NASCAR ever so popular on display here tonight. As you see virtually everyone on pit road. Take you now back up to the front of the field. Let's try to get these cameras sorted back out. Joseph McWhorter continues to lead here in that 73 machine. That Chevrolet has been FAST fast since the drop of the green flag. Chris Medford in that 44 machine having a great run here tonight as he is up 7 positions, tied for the biggest mover of the race. GT Izari there in that 3rd place position. That Burger King machine. See if he can bring that flame-broiled Whopper to the front of this piece. Very good road course racer inside the cockpit of that 14. Chuck Sweeting in the 75 ride. He's going to be just inside the top 5 in that 4th place position, while Ray Poking holds down that 5th place position. Vincent Short is going to restart here in 6th. Glasser going to restart in that 7th place position. Todd Cray, great looking paint scheme on his ride tonight. The 21 going to restart 8th. Michael Larch 9th. Matthew Robinson's going to restart in that 10th place position. Bad Boy Troy in the 28, 11th. Dean, I believe that's Gagato, going to restart 12th. And Gary May, we're going to line up here 13th. Sean Coran, 14th. Unfortunately, that Jack Daniels machine being piloted by William Hawley on pit road there for an extended period. That's going to restart him in that 16th place position. He actually better get some boogie under that hoodie going. He's a jeopardy going a lap down here. And the 34, Doug Wysocki, excuse me, on the hauler. He's going to be the first car that's going to call it a night here tonight. We send it now back up here to the front. Lights out on that Porsche means we're going green flag racing this next time by. Also, I have to take a moment to thank all the partner sponsors that make these leagues possible. Premier Sim Racers Club, one of the iconic leagues on the iRacing.com servers. You know, no matter what type of car you prefer to drive, whether it be Gen 4, Next Gen, Xfinity, Pat and all those guys, they do everything they can to put a great racing experience with highly competitive drivers and great sponsors and partners, including GTR Sim, just to name one of them, that do such a great job behind the scenes to make this series what it is. Speaking of partners, I also have to thank Black Magic, one of my strategic alliance partners. You looking for a new wrap on your ride? Get out of the static. Go see the guys at Black Magic. They'll take your one-of-a-kind authentic design and bring it to life in a way only they can. And in fact, Tell them Redline Racing Network sent you, and remember, it's good for 2/10 out there on the racetrack. What do you say we go on board with your leader, McWhorter, for this restart? Joseph McWhorter, I believe that's St. Robert, Missouri. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's from the state of Missouri. He wants to go fast. Look at that, almost 10,000 RPM. These cars become screaming here as we climb up through the H pattern into this heavy braking zone. You don't want to wheel hop the back tires here. Great corner entry as he's going to get back on the loud pedal here, climbing back up through the gearbox as we climb the hill. That's right, honey. Go now. He better go, because he's got Medford right behind him. In fact, you want to take a look at the Hornet's Nest. Let's flip around to the GoPro camera here, and my God, he has gotten out of Dodge. He's already stretched it out over a second over the 44 of Medford. McWhorter has a rocket. Let's go back inside the cockpit. See how he gets around this place. In fact, we're going to go crank it up for the first time of the evening. We're going to stay on board here with your leader, Joseph McWhorter. If you want to know how to get around this place, sub 1:12-second lap times. Joseph McWhorter just showed you how it's done, as he just went a 1:11.81. Fastest time on the board posted so far this evening. Front row Joe at his finest right here on display at Watkins Glen. That lead has now stabilized a little bit. In fact, Medford, that last time by, just a tick faster, a couple thousandths. Medford piloting that Spartan machine here tonight in P number 2. Sweeting is now looking to apply some pressure to that 44 machine, starting to dial up the excitometer inside the cockpit of that race car. This is shaping up to be a great battle here for the lead. .46 a little too far back to try to deploy the dive bomb here into 1. And again, this Gen 4 car is quite unlike anything compared to the current next-gen car. I mean, this car here still has truck arms, 5 lug nuts. I mean, you're talking about making all your downforce with the, the body on the race car. This car also referred to as the Twisted Sister. If you ever seen an aerial view of one of these cars, you'll know what I'm talking about. But basically, No independent rear suspension, only 15-inch tires. Lug nuts on this race car. It's completely different. Oh, and it has a heck of a lot more cojones under the hood. All the power in this thing, a lot different than this current next-gen car. Just as I say that, Chuck Sweeting in third. Now goes fast lap at a 111.51. And that's 75 run. He's getting hot and heavy up towards the front of this piece. Let's go back to GT Azari. He's having it his way right now in that fourth place position. Throwing it back there to Brian Vickers right behind him in those Red Bull colors on the 24. It's Bentley Glazer having a great run in fifth. Let's go on board with Glazer. As he starts to attack, apply the pressure there. The GT just in front of him. Him sawing at the wheel there a little bit, making sure that he's got the grip. Oh, oh, what a save. He gave it a little too much nitrous on the exit of that corner. You have to be very respectful of that throttle. When you put it down, this car will respond. Very good there, attacking that final corner. Going to take a peek to the outside. GT's going to throw the block on him, or at least thought about it there momentarily. Let's see how hard he forces it into the corner here. That spot on the racetrack could be a great passing zone. It could also be a great... But at least that corner, the sand trap is gone, and now it is all paved asphalt in that runoff area. Before you go back to the year 2000, one of Jimmy Johnson's famous moments here, or it may have been 2002, excuse me, when he had a brake failure and he launched into the sand trap and then absolutely howitzered the, safer barrier, if you want to call it that at the time. Now you have all that runoff asphalt, which not only prevents the yellow flag from coming out, but allows you to try to get some speed. Oh, he almost loses it as he hits the sausage patty. He does the slide for life. The last thing you want to do is overheat these Goodyears. They'll go from Dr. Feelgoods to Feel-Bads here. As Bentley is giving it all the mustard right now. Ten laps to go in this race. We're going to go ahead and run through the field. It's basically been the McWhorter show since the drop of the green flag here. However, that lead has been cut now in half, just over a half a second as Joseph runs first. Chris Medford in the 44 continuing to run him down. And that Falcon Motorsports machine is second. Chuck Sweeting holding on to that final money position. Podium spot in the 75 ride. He is third. Bentley Glazer currently up 13 positions from where he started. Biggest mover of the race in fourth. GT is fifth, up 5 spots. That's your top 5. Bad Boy Troy currently in that 6th place position, while Todd Cray in the 21 currently rounds out the 7th place. While Ray Poking holds on to 8th, entrenching himself in 9th. Michael Larch Sean in the 22 holding down that 10th place position. That's your top 10. Travis Everett gained a few positions since the start of this piece. Just outside the top 10 in 11th there. Well, Dean Galato currently in that 12th place position. 13th belongs to the 5 ride of Gary May. The 40 machine of Matthew Robinson currently holds down that 14th place position. William Hawley slightly off the pace here, but nonetheless out there getting an all-important experience and track time on that 31 machine in that 15th place position. Vincent Short has called it quits and put it on pit road. Want to thank him for his services. He's a retired Air Force service member. Want to thank him for everything that he's done. Doug Wasaki also out of this race as well from Belleville, Michigan. So we now send it back up to the front here with just 8 laps to go from Watkins Glen. We're going to take this moment, do our official Crank It Up segment. Don't go anywhere. We're going all out here on Redline Racing Network. Five laps to go here from Wine Country, Watkins Glen, Western New York, the place. Premier Sim Racers Club doing battle out here on the road course tonight, and it has been high-flying, high-octane racing action since the drop of the green flag. I want to thank everyone for joining us once again right here on Redline Racing Network. Matt Metler was always up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth. Joseph McWhorter. continues to hold off a hard-charging Chris Medford. McWhorter really opened it up after that caution sequence out there on the racetrack. Had a great strategy heading on the restart. Was able to jump out almost to a 2-second advantage. But then Medford has slowly but surely chopped away at it. I just think he may have had to use a little too much of those Goodyear Eagles catching back up to him. That lead was inside 0.4 of a second. Now it has gone back the other way, hovering in the area of 0.6. Good strategy there. Going to be in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You can see virtually everyone inside the top 10 came down on lap 12. Laser was the big winner there, getting it really done in the pits. 14 positions. But you can see Porter and Medford on basically the same set of shoes. Ooh, the 46 almost missed that corner. Right now, if I'm the crew chief on top of the box for McWhorter, I'm telling that driver, stay focused, don't look up in the rearview mirror, do not let him get inside your head. In fact, I'm taking that thing, throwing it out the window. I'm going to do my job, let my spotter and crew chief do theirs. Do not make a mistake here. Do not let Medford make you blow one of these corners here. Ooh, that 31 was a great job getting out of the way there. In fact, that may help McWhorter just a little bit there. And it does, as now that gap almost to 0.7 of a second. But Medford's been great into this bus stop, especially on entry. Able to cut a 10th off of it. Whoa, he just drove that thing. What a drive in out of that corner for Medford. I'm not even sure if he used the brake pedal there. 73 was able to gain a little bit of real estate back there on corner exit, coming through the final corner here. A gentleman's handshake lap. In fact, that's going to go down. Popsicle sticks are going to go up. Just 2 laps to go here from Watkins Glen as the sun now begins to set here in wine country. McWhorter has been nearly perfect this entire race. Can he hold on for just over 5 miles? Let's go back on board with Medford as he's trying to figure out a way to catch the leader. And remember, catching him is one thing, passing him another, especially here at Watkins Glen. And he is using up all the sausage curving there. That really helps these Gen 4 cars rotate. Now has closed it down to under 0.4 of a second. Listen to that car sing as it almost caps out at 10,000 RPM. The man from Knightstown is trying to be the Dark Knight like in the Middle Ages. Sees the enemy just in front of him and trying to find a solution, a way to dethrone McWhorter as he has been king of the ring since we started this race. Now on the final lap, less than 3 miles remaining. Up through the hills for the final time. Medford's going to stretch it out to about 0.5, now almost 0.6 of a second. As we widen things back out once again. McWhorter needed to be perfect there. Oh, the 46 almost got to him. The 46 is looking inside. The 73 comes down to block. Medford is there. What else does he have in his back pocket here to throw at the 73? Coming up into this high-speed braking zone, does Medford look to try to... No, he doesn't. He tries to fake him out, tries to pull a move like we've seen in Days of Thunder, but it's not going to be enough. This is 73, comes out of the final corner for the final time. He's going to put the throttle to the floorboards, grab another gear, and McWhorter is going to go big here and take all the wine home for himself here from the great upstate of Western New York here in Watkins, Glen. Is McWhorter put on a clinic here with a well-deserving win, but you cannot discount the drive and the weight pressure applied from Medford. What a great battle between these two drivers here. You see the respect being shown out there on the racetrack. A lot of class between those two drivers. Medford could have easily won up there and gave him a ringer in the business end of that race car and chose not to. GT Azari's going to come home third. Try to get our leader. There we go. Got guys asking me in the Discord if there is an interview. There's definitely an interview, thanks to the other drivers giving him the heads up. As we're going to talk to our top three, McWhorter, Medford, and Glazer. I think one of the guys is asking for a Discord invite as well, but we'll talk to as many of these drivers as we possibly can who have finished inside the top three tonight. And again, that's going to be McWhorter, Medford, and Glazer. So we give them a moment to celebrate with their team, and then you're going to hear from them live right here on Redline Racing Network. We have Glazer and McWhorter. As he's burned it down right now, we'll let him celebrate, get the rest of the good out of those good years. Hey, you don't need it anymore, might as well use it up. Sellout crowd on hand here. I'm telling you folks, you ever thinking about going to this racetrack, best camping experience on the entire NASCAR circuit, I can guarantee that. He's still burning it down, AJ Allmendinger style. Give him another moment here before we pull him up into the booth.
Yes, I put the link to the Discord in the race chat.
Joseph McWhorter, Matt up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy there, man?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, hey, man, first and foremost, congratulations on a dominating win here tonight. You start this bad boy off on the pole, and it seemed like it was all smooth sailing from there. How are you able to put together and execute a darn near perfect race over the course of 30 laps around this place here tonight?
It's just one of my favorite cars and one of my favorite tracks. I've had a lot of success here in a lot of different vehicles, whether it be, being GT cars or NASCARs. Like, it's always just been that track and driver kind of combo that has always worked for me. And, man, we definitely put on a hell of a show tonight, that's for sure.
You're darn right. One of the better races I've seen here in a long time here at the Glen. Yeah, this is my home track growing up here, and you said you love this car, and I do as well. You know, this car here, really what made the golden age of NASCAR, is what it is today. This car has north of 900 horsepower. It sounds like a screaming demon as you approach that 10,000 RPM red line. What are some of the challenges? What makes this car so much of a driver's car, especially at a track like this, versus the current next gen?
The biggest thing is the smaller tire and less contact patch and the amount of power that you have. You really have to be real careful on that throttle pedal because it'll bite you in the butt and light them rear tires up and no problem whatsoever. 10,000 RPMs out of this big honking V8. I mean,
Yes, sir.
it's such a challenge because this car isn't made for this type of stuff. Where the next gen car is basically a GT car, and it's a lot easier to drive here than this thing is. This thing's all about having to work that throttle pedal, making sure that you work those brakes because you got smaller brakes, smaller tire, way more power. It's way harder to drive. It's just so much more fun in a track like this where it's real high speeds and you really have to know your braking points or else you can really ruin the entire lap because of how much momentum there is. It's just such a good combo and I love being here.
Hey, well said. I couldn't agree with you more. And thank you for the excellent analysis and breakdown on this Gen 4 car. You mentioned the tires. If you were to overheat these Dr. Feelgoods or perhaps flat spot them a little bit, were you able to get them to cool back down, or once you got them hot, was it pretty much game over until you're able to come down pit road and put a new set on that race car?
I'm not too sure because I really didn't have any issues with lighting the rear tires up, but maybe just once or twice. So like it didn't really affect me. I feel like that'd be more of a question towards like the back half of the field of those guys that were racing a lot harder and were having to use it a little bit more on whether or not you could cool them or not. So I know in the past, if you abuse them at different tracks and stuff like that, you do with this new tire model, you do have an opportunity to cool them down. But unfortunately tonight, I didn't really have that. I only had that one big slide over there out of the carousel, and it didn't really seem to hurt me. So I'm not 100% sure. But I can imagine that might be an issue with some of these other guys that were pushing a lot harder.
Yeah, we were on board with you there a couple times. We seen that slide through the carousel and great recovery, by the way. I got worried there for a moment, but if you blinked, you wouldn't even never know you had that little bit of a miscue going through that part of the racetrack. But nonetheless, a dominating performance from you here tonight. Before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on that 73 machine?
Absolutely. I want to thank harpoondesign.com for the beautiful paint scheme. You get to see them each and every week. Harpoon Design has over 2,000 paint schemes on treating paints. Go check them out at harpoondesign.com. Red Camel Racing that you get to see on the beautiful hood of this machine. Red Camel Racing has been an awesome partner of mine for the last few years in my real life racing and in my sim racing. They've been an absolute amazing partner, amazing equipment that I get to use in real life. Fire suits, helmet, shoes, gloves, you name it, they have it. They've even got flame retardant workwear, and they even have new riding jackets for motorcycles and stuff like that. So go check them out at redcamelracing.com. New sponsor, we haven't got the paint scheme updated yet because we only just got this done. Brand new sponsor going into the end of the year and into next year, Outlier Setup Shop, Setup Co. Go check them out at Outlier Setups. They are an amazing partner. Last week at the Roval and Official, we won 2 races in our first 3 starts with that team. So really excited to be a part of that whole organization over there. You for putting on the awesome broadcast. I can't wait to go and watch it. I'm not sure. Did we have you last season in the trucks? Because I don't know if you don't really sound familiar to me.
No, I wasn't with you guys last year in the trucks, but I'm helping out on the Xfinity side of things and now here for the Gen 4 League moving forward.
Oh, that's really cool. I'll be running full time. I'm really looking forward to the rest of this season. So, really excited to have you. Really looking forward to going back and watching the race here in a little bit. Hopefully, we can get a few more conversations in throughout the rest of the season, and maybe even holding a championship trophy at the end of the year.
Well, hey, man, momentum breeds momentum, and I'm sure we will, especially if you keep driving like that out there on the racetrack. Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph McWhorter showing love to all the partner sponsors and showcasing everything that makes this Gen 4 car the best car there ever was, in my opinion, to grace the NASCAR circuit. He goes big time in prime time. Driver of the 73, Joseph McWhorter, with a dominating win here at Watkins Glen. Thank you for joining me up here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth, my friend.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me in here. Looking forward to next week.
Yes, sir. Have a great rest of your weekend, bud.
You too, brother. Have a good one.
Got to thank him for joining me up here in the broadcast booth. 2 more drivers we're going to go ahead and talk to here tonight. Up next, Bentley Glazer, you got a copy. Matt up in the booth, bud. And we're going to try him here one more time. Bentley Glazer, Matt up top, you got a copy.
Matt.
Ah, there he is. Got you loud and clear, man. Well, first and foremost, congratulations on a strong run here at Watkins Glen tonight. Walk me through this race. How are you able to put on such a strong performance here in this high-powered horsepower race car? Bentley, I think I may have lost you there, bud. And we'll try him one more time. Bentley, you got me, bud. Apologize for that, folks. We seem to be having some connectivity issues with the driver of the 24. Your third place finisher. Going to see now we can get the 44. Chris Medford, Matt up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth. You got a copy there, boss.
I got you. How you guys doing?
Hey, doing great, man. Hey, you're doing even better than I was. First and foremost, heck of a run here tonight. How are you able to put together such a great performance from start to finish here in this high horsepower race car?
Just a lot of luck. I haven't been on the sim very much due to work purposes. I've been getting on every now and again, even running the trucks. But I've always enjoyed road courses. I'm not the best or even good. I just enjoy doing them. But man, I'll tell you what, these guys are on rails, and I could only do so much. Joseph was not making any mistakes and going to that last corner, or second to last corner. I locked him up and turned right just not to hit him, because that's the last thing I want to do is wreck somebody for a win.
You know, I even mentioned that on the broadcast. A lot of respect that you were showing out there on the racetrack. You know, if you really wanted to there was times I thought you could have put a bumper to him, and you certainly didn't. But, you know, I mentioned, you know, you said you're kind of new to road course racing here, or this race car. It didn't look like that out there on the racetrack. In those closing laps at one point in time, you know, Joseph had north of a 1 second advantage, and you were able to put together some really good laps to reel him in. How are you able to put together, you know, just that a beautiful, you know, 10 to 15 laps there to really apply the pressure to the leader there at the end?
He was just kind of my carrot right in front of me. And, you know, I said that second to last corner, I really misjudged it, but, you know, just kind of seeing his braking points. Obviously, when you shift in these cars, you can see the backfire and the exhaust. I was getting him through the bus stop,
Yes,
getting
sir.
into the carousel, but coming out, he was just very fine-tuned on his throttle. He wasn't missing any corners, so he was very, very locked in. I tried to put a little pressure on him here now and again. The last like 5 laps, I was within, you know, half a second or so, but he was spot on.
I'll tell you what, man, you look like a veteran out there on this racetrack, knowing where to apply the pressure, where to attack. And it was certainly a great battle to watch unfold up here in the broadcast booth. In fact, that was probably one of the favorites, one of the best battles I've seen here, especially in this race car, in quite some time. Do you think if it went a little bit longer, perhaps you would have had something for him? It seemed like you were doing a little bit better of a job saving the tires there as you were running him down in the later stages of that run.
I don't think so. I mean, if I could have made a move, it would have been into the carousel. That last lap, he had done a really good job of kind of taking a tighter entry into that corner. He has been taking a wider entry, so he done a really good job. Only way I think I could get around him was to either A, move him, which is never out of the realm, but obviously you want to do it clean, clean hard racing, to where obviously you move somebody you expect to get moved back. But I don't think so. I said he didn't make any mistakes. If he did, he might have slid up half a car. So I think we could have battled. There was a time a lap car kind of caught us off guard, coming to the S's and also coming off of the final corner. So it could have, but I mean, I'm not gonna say I would have beat him. He was very mistake free, and that's what you got to do to win these races.
Yeah, spot on, and I agree with your analysis there 100%. That was just a great battle between two race car drivers that clearly had a lot of respect for one another. And you're right, he took some defensive line there as when he needed to. That 31 race car, I believe, was the lap car you were talking about, William Hawley. I know that cost you a little bit of time out there on the racetrack, but hey, nonetheless, You were there fighting the fight when it came down to the checkered flag, and you come home with a great second place finish. Before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for throwing the broadcast. I haven't obviously watched it yet, but I'm sure I'll watch it either tonight or sometime tomorrow at work. Congrats to Joseph on the win. Bentley, heck of a run. Looks like you didn't qualify, so 16th to third. That's a heck of a turnaround. Obviously, no practice or qualifying. And congrats to the guys. I mean, I wasn't back there, but I didn't hear anybody on the radio as far as wrecking or moving around or this and that. So that's a good testament to the league and to the guys for racing, especially at a road course, like you said, a very loose car with a lot of horsepower. So kudos to those guys. Um, you know, thanks to Sam and all the admins for putting up with me and the other guys. I know sometimes we can't be the best group or best guys, but if we can all see eye to eye and uh, not bicker, we can definitely make a league be bigger than what it can be. Shout out to my Charity Motorsports teammates. I know Doug didn't have the greatest night. Brandon, he raced a modified today, so he's pretty worn out now. So, um, kudos to everybody. I mean, like you said, this wouldn't be possible without the admins and the racers.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Medford was FAST Fast here tonight in primetime as he put on an epic battle between himself and Joseph McWhorter, coming down to the wire. You can see the amount of respect that both these drivers had for one another as they put on a great action, high impact thriller here tonight, coming down to the wire. Ultimately, Chris comes up just a little bit short, but certainly gets a ton of momentum as he grounds out in that P2 position. Thanks for joining me up here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth, and you enjoy the rest of your weekend, my friend.
Thanks, man. You too.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, comes home second place tonight in that 44 machine. Try to keep that momentum running into next week, and heck, why not through the rest of the season? As unfortunately, we're unable to speak to our third place finisher tonight. But nonetheless, what a great job by all these drivers out there on the racetrack, showcasing what this Gen 4 car is all about. And I really think McWhorter did a great job of just explaining how different and how much more control and poise that you have to have inside the cockpit if you want to be fast out there on the racetrack, especially over 30 grueling laps here in prime time. And unfortunately, it's come to that point in time in the broadcast. I want to thank all the partners, fans, you guys at home cheering us on, these drivers on Redline Racing Network. Without your help and support, this simply would not be possible. And as the late, great Tony Trapasso used to say, as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a favor, don't play in traffic. And we'll see you next time right here on Redline Racing Network.